Something that Eric and I ran into was we both spawned in, and neither of us had a backpack, and we both had garbage vests. We had scav vest or that little black bank robber thing. And it was like, well, we're both here. We want to get out with loot. Let's go run through the middle of the mall and try to find some backpacks. And we actually ended up running into 2 PMCs. And it was little common mistakes. Actually, it was one. No, was it 2 PMCs or was it scavs? I don't even remember now.
It was 2 PMCs.
Yeah, and here's a couple things to think about, right? We mentioned the big glass window in the center of the mall. The other areas where glass exists is at the entrance to the big stores Idea and Ollie. And so the first PMC that we killed was from a little shortcut that they took late in the map, which was they were coming in from outside of Ollie, and rather than running in through the garage, which is like maybe a 5-second detour, they broke the glass at the front of Ollie and were coming up. And when we heard this, we were up in Tech Light right after we spawned, and I was like, I just heard glass break. There's only one place that can be, and it's the front of Ollie. So I booked it down the escalator. Eric's right behind me. I was like telling him where I'm going. He's like, I'm right behind you, dude. I was like, we're going in and we're turning right. This guy's gonna be there. And sure enough, we both come around the corner. This dude is standing at the top of the stairs to the entrance of Ollie, and we both start shooting, and he goes down. And sure, he had a backpack. Boom. So we start looting, and we're doing our U, which was starting at the front glass of Ollie, which if you're looking at the map or thinking about it, it's where the big glass is on Ollie, which is the west side of the map. If you're looking at it with Emercom as the northwest exfil, and I know that's a lot of information if you don't have the map in front of you, but think about the big glass in front of Ollie. We killed him right at the top of the stairs, and we're beginning our U by heading straight to the back pallet racking. And we hear something else. Another PMC is back there, presumably looking for propane and other stuff like that, and we get into a firefight. And it was so funny because one of the things that used to happen was when we were still learning this game, we would ask each other. We'd be like, is that you? Is that a PMC? Should I shoot? and I see this guy and I expect a conversation, and I'm like starting to say like and then boom, Ronald takes a shot, and then I shoot, and the guy goes down, and we just start laughing. And he just says to me, I don't ask anymore. It was so awesome, dude.
It was pretty funny, actually.
It was great, because, like, we're sitting there, like, high tense moment, and it was just, like, he knew exactly what I was thinking, and he just goes, I don't ask anymore. Just shoot and ask questions later. And I was like, yes, here we go, dude. And then we both had bags, and we proceeded to just basically loot the back wall of Ollie towards the exfil. And then we what'd you find? You found like what, 2?
Yeah, I got, I did well. My man had already done some looting for me. So he had a Burkett and he had 2 water filters, and he had like a stack of 45,000 rubles. He must have got off a scav, and
yeah,
yeah, it was great. It was great. I think we surprised him because when I shot him, he jumped.
Jumped, that's right.
And I was like, what are you doing, man? So I just aimed a little higher and he was gone. And so it's just like, dude. But anyways, so he jumped and then it just didn't work out. So I honestly think that he was more surprised than we were at that point, which was very memorable. But again, it was a great run, using sound and using what we had available. And when you scav in without anything, then you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So just go see if you can find some dead guys and pull off what people have left over. And be a scav, right? Be a scav and go do your thing. So
Yeah, and I want to talk about the 90+% survival thing right now, because if you're not super familiar with interchange, don't expect to go in there with a high success rate in getting out, because one of the critical factors to this is knowing where the loot is. And until you go in and explore, you don't know where all the loot is. And until you know where the loot is, you're not going to know where PMCs move through the map. Until you die 50 times on interchange, you're not going to know where you encounter people. Part of the reason that Ronald and I were so successful in that fight in the back corner of Ollie is because that pallet racking area is probably the best loot spot in the big part of Ollie, because it has fuel spawns, it has water filter spawns, it has basically anything and everything, and there's seriously like 20 spawns within like 10 square feet right there. So once you're approaching that area, as you've played more and more interchange, you're gonna start like, okay, I need to raise my awareness levels. And that back wall of Ollie, scabs used to not go there at all, and now they just kind of walk back there and walk back in. So if you see someone running along the back wall, it's a player. So before you loot that area, I will often go look up the back wall to make sure no one's approaching me. Then I'll loot, then I'll check it again, and then I'll move along the back wall. And in doing so, I've caught a lot of other player scabs or PMCs that were approaching that area, and it's just something that you will learn over time. So don't expect to get out every time, but know that there is an option to really learn how to exfil often.
yep. And one of the things to keep in mind too, if you're not super familiar with interchange, the best thing that you can do is take one of your gaming days. We're going to take 2 or 3 hours, go into an offline raid. All of the loot will spawn in the map in an offline raid, and you'll be the only one. Don't have any scavs, don't have anything else. Just go into an offline raid, pull the map up on your second monitor or on your phone or something if you have one monitor, and walk around them all. Stop at every store and say, okay, I'm in front of Revis. I'm in front of Brutal now. Okay, this is where is the map, and this is what it looks like. And take a minute to just take the time to really soak in what it is, because in the heat of the moment when you're fighting an interchange, map knowledge on interchange is huge. And for the longest time, I just didn't have the map knowledge and I avoided interchange. And this wipe, I specifically have decided, okay, I'm going to get to know interchange to the point where I know the callouts, I know how to run around the ball, I know where the places are to go to avoid fire, all that stuff. And that process started with me with basically 2 45-minute or whatever, almost full length raid interchange offline raids. And all I did was just learn the terrain. And that's the way that I learned. So maybe it'll only take you 15 minutes of running around and you're good to go. But the fact that you have the ability to do that, I think, is an awesome way to learn kind of a complex system of loot spawns, and interchange is definitely that.